Hello, and welcome to this third video in our series of authentic conversations. Through life, we have all sorts of relationships with our family and friends, with our church community, with our neighbours, with work colleagues. And in this video, you're going to hear from a number of different people reflecting on their own relationships, how they develop their closest relationships, how they manage conflict, how they build relationships that provide great support. It's worth a true, honest and authentic conversation, and I hope you are inspired and get great insight from this video.
My most satisfying relationship in my life is probably my relationship with my dad. This is just a magical thing, and he is my number one supporter. Whenever I ring him, no matter what, he's always there for me. He's always so proud of me and puts my head straight when I'm having a wobble, so I can ring him and be like, I'm having such a bad time with so-and-so, and he'll make me reflect on everything, and then he teaches me every day to be a better person.
My nan is probably the most satisfying relationship in my life. I try and see her at least once a week.
One of the most satisfying relationships in my life is my marriage. I think it's just having that best friend there all of the time. Someone there for the happy times and the good times. Even if you've had a really rubbish day, you know, you've got someone to talk with.
My wife, and she's just such a great support to me. They're always good at making me laugh and picking me up.
I've got my son, who is the most satisfying, and he's 11 years old. And like everything that I do is for him, and he adds so much value because he gives me the purpose to get up and to strive for more, to be able to show him best that I can be.
In terms of the most precious relationships to me, they're the people who I know that I can completely be myself around. Those kind of people where you can just completely relax, be able to share when I've had a bad day, be able to, again, just be honest about what I'm finding hard and know that there's not going to be anything that comes back that's judgmental on me.
I think the most satisfying relationship would have been my granddad. He was sort of like top dog of the family. He would sort of like be there for me, and I would trust all his, wise words, and also all his advice and guidance, really.
A group of friends that I've got who I've known for, coming up to about since I was about 14. So we all live around the country in different parts of the country, and we see each other kind of 2 or 3 times a year now.
The most satisfying relationships are the ones that actually can build people up when someone's going through a storm. I was actually pray for them.
They're just amazing friends, and they encourage me. You know, they're all Christians, so they encourage me in my faith, but they encourage me just to be a better person and to be kind. They're all on my stag do, and one of them took me aside at about 11 a.m. when things were getting a little bit rowdy for a stag do, and he said maybe just slow down for an hour or so, and I'll never forget that is a friend.
Having lots of friends and having lots of good relationships has always been quite important.
Me and my nan don't really have much in common, but there's just that love and me wanting to make her happy. But my best friend is like, it's just we just have a lot in common. It's just great fun. But I couldn't go 2 weeks without seeing you with them. Like they are like things to look forward to in life.
The most difficult, believe it or not, is actually the closest relationships, where they've like betrayed me. I've been like felt like I've been let down. When they almost betray you or let you down, it's almost a lower blow than what you would expect, because you expect a bit more from you.
My relationship with my mum, the most difficult, and it's not like we don't get on. We get on great, and I annoy her all the time, but it's more like she's spent her whole life bringing me up, and I don't want to let her down.
Recently I went through a really rough time where I thought I was in a healthy relationship with someone who was a non-Christian. He would tell me that I would have to wear this sort of clothing because I looked good in it, and that I shouldn't wear makeup and I shouldn't spend money on myself, which really affected me to the point where he tried to take me away from my faith.
My also most difficult one's my sister, because we just disagree on absolutely everything.
I think as a Christian, it's one of the best things being part of a church family. I'm not going to lie, it's also one of the hardest things. They're not doing it to wind you up. They're doing it because that's them. And there'll be things that I do that really annoy them.
Where you find that you have strategies and you have plans on how you would like to move forwards, and sometimes it's difficult if not everyone is willing to, you know, move forward with that. And I find that it can be difficult when you're trying to push forward and you haven't got the same ethos from everyone else.
All relationships, even good ones, can be difficult at times. Some relationships I find most hard is when other Christians kind of don't behave the way I would expect them to or want them to. In a sense, I maybe give them more of a free pass to behave differently to how I'd expect.
So working at a school, you get put with a work team of people that you wouldn't necessarily be friends with outside of school, because I'm not letting them get to me because I am a little bit hot-headed.
It's when other Christians, other brothers and sisters upset me or don't necessarily do what I'd expect them to. I find it really hard not to kind of harbour a bit of resentment or bitterness about that. Sometimes I kind of wallow in it a bit. And then other times, probably when I speak to someone else rather than wallowing, that's how I kind of distance myself, because they'll give me a bit of perspective.
The relationships that I find difficult, a changing relationship. How would you navigate your way through? Well, you were my friend 5 years ago, but now our lives have changed so much.
So many different people from different backgrounds, different ages, different jobs, just so many different life experiences that can create problems. There's lots of great things, it can create problems.
It can be difficult sort of having to manage your feelings when you are sort of let down or you're upset.
I guess kind of evaluating who your friends are and kind of prioritising the ones who are in your life at the moment, who you want to invest in.
In a relationship, you've got to remember that the other person's perception is their reality. They're not putting it on. That's how they find things. The joy of church family, being able to bring those differences and bring them to the table and be able to share them. And although that's hard, I'm trying to see it through that lens rather than as a negative.
To protect myself from that negativity, I think mostly it's reminding myself of who I am and what my core values are, and staying true to myself. If you don't forgive, you can't move on.
It's made me see that those people who are around me are ones that are building me up and supporting me, and I should trust those people with what I know about them and how they can keep me going through my faith.
So many topics that we disagree on, that we just can't talk about it like that. We don't say it to each other. Let's not talk about this. We just, neither of us want to bring it up because the rest of the day is ruined if we get started.
I ring my dad and says somebody's really annoying me, and he will put it back onto me and be like, no, you need to calm down. And then I will reevaluate and then go back.
But that's part of just being a part of a church family where everyone's different, and that should be celebrated.